Her mother's voice still echoed in Violet's mind, as if it were trapped inside the walls. "You're ungrateful. Get out of my house and never come back." She didn't respond. She didn't argue. She didn't beg. She just grabbed her small bag, walked past the doorway, and let silence do the rest. For 6 months, Violet convinced herself that moment had been freedom, that the sound of the door closing behind her was the beginning of a new life. But that night, sitting alone in her small apartment, watching her phone vibrate nonstop across the table, she realized the real heartbreak hadn't happened when she was thrown out. No, the real betrayal came weeks later. It came the moment her father sent the message that changed everything. Before she told the rest, Violet took a breath and asked, "If this were you, what would you have done?" If someone had met Violet a year earlier, they would have made all the usual assumptions. She looked like the daughter of a picture-perfect suburban family. Sunday dinners, matching holiday photos, neat decorations, a well-kept lawn. On the outside, that family looked flawless. On the inside, it wasn't. Inside that house, imbalance lived in every room. Like a picture frame Violet kept straightening, only for it to tilt again the second she stepped away. Her mother, Elaine, was an emotional hurricane with 2 modes: loud when she was angry, and strangely quiet whenever Violet achieved something. Her father, Robert, acted like the logical one, the man who believed every problem had a solution, as long as that solution was Violet herself. And Tyler, her older brother by 3 years, was treated like a child who still needed time to figure himself out. Violet learned early something that shaped her entire life. If she wanted anything, she had to earn it. And she did. Scholarships, 2 part-time jobs, a corporate job right after graduation. But what Violet thought was independence, her family interpreted as availability. She became the responsible one, the reliable one, the daughter who could handle anything. And that is how the weight settled on her shoulders. Quietly, constantly, and unfairly. It happened so slowly that Violet only realized it when she was already drowning in it. It started with her mom forgetting things at the store. "Can you pick up a few things for us? Just this once." Then came the small bills. "The electric bill is higher this month. Can you help?" Then the mortgage. "Just until things get better. Just for a few months. Just until Tyler gets on his feet. Just until Dad gets paid." The just never ended. Violet told herself it was temporary, that families helped each other, that she was doing the right thing. But deep down, she felt like she was constantly trying to extinguish fires with her bare hands. She had become the emotional and financial fire extinguisher of the household, the object everyone forgot existed until someone needed it. Slowly, Violet noticed something uncomfortable. In that house, help wasn't help. It was an expectation. Their silence whenever she said, "I already paid it," said far more than any thank you could have. They didn't see effort. They didn't see sacrifice. They didn't see burnout. They only saw a solution. She had started patching small cracks in the wall and ended up holding the entire house together. Meanwhile, Tyler stayed on the couch, controller in hand, insisting he was figuring out his life. And her mother, always sighing dramatically about how hard things had been lately, staring directly at Violet without actually asking. It was silent manipulation, smooth, practiced, and perfectly aimed. And then it happened. It was a Sunday. The air felt heavier than usual, as if the house could sense what was coming. Her mother stood with arms crossed. Her father positioned himself like a disappointed judge. Tyler didn't even pause his game. They were waiting for Violet to fail some invisible test. When she explained she couldn't take on another payment, the most absurd request of all, her mother erupted. "You're ungrateful after everything we've done for you." It was strange, because Violet searched her memory and found no such everything. Then came the final blow. "Leave my house and never come back." She didn't cry. She didn't protest. She didn't beg. She simply walked past them, grabbed a bag with 3 outfits, and left. And just like that, a whole life ended. Or so she thought. Her new apartment was small, cold, and quiet. The heater rattled loudly at night, a metallic sound like it had opinions of its own. In the first few days, Violet felt a strange emptiness. It felt like freedom, like peace, or at least like the absence of chaos. But like all silence that lasts too long, it began to feel like a room waiting for someone to turn the lights on. She worked, cooked simple meals, reorganized the closet more times than she cared to admit, all to avoid replaying the moment her mother said, "Never come back." She repeated daily, "I did the right thing." And for a while, she believed it. Then came Thursday. She was sitting on the couch, reading work emails, when the phone buzzed once. Just one vibration. She glanced at the screen and froze. It was from her father. "Why haven't you paid the mortgage?" No hi, no how are you, no acknowledgement of the 6 months of silence since they threw her out. Just the demand. Violet stared at the message like it was a badly told joke. She almost laughed. The irony was grotesque. They kicked her out, but still wanted her money. She opened her banking app and scrolled through years of transfers, labeled mortgage help. Years of support, months of payments, not 1 ounce of appreciation. And now they expected her to continue, even though she was forbidden from stepping into the house? The realization hit her. This wasn't love. It was convenience. Later that night, the phone started ringing. First once, then again, then non-stop. It was like an emotional fire alarm. Calls from her father, messages from her mother, voicemails, missed calls from Tyler. 6 months of silence shattered like glass. But Violet was calm, almost cold. They weren't worried about losing her. They were worried about losing the mortgage payment. Their panic wasn't about family. It was about losing their supply. When she finally answered, her father burst out, "Violet, why didn't you answer? This is serious." She replied calmly, "I'm sure you're about to explain." He tried. The mortgage was late. The bank had called. They were in danger. She repeated, "Oh, I thought I wasn't welcome there." Silence. Her mother jumped in. "You're being dramatic. Families say things they don't mean." Violet almost laughed. "They meant it enough to let me walk out with 1 bag and not even check if I made it home alive." "You're being cruel," her mother shouted. "No," she said softly. "Cruel is throwing your daughter out and still expecting her to pay your bills." Mom went silent. Tyler called next. "You ruined everything." She asked simply, "What did you do with the money I sent?" More silence. Then anger. That's not the point. It's exactly the point. So she called the bank, and what she learned was worse than anything she imagined. The mortgage hadn't been fully paid in 8 months, long before she was kicked out. They had lied to her, manipulated her, used her. And now they wanted her to fix everything again. When she called her parents back, her mother was crying. "If you don't help us, we might lose the house." "That's between you and the bank," Violet said. "You're abandoning your family," her father yelled. "No," she replied quietly. "You abandoned me when you chose convenience over your own child." And then she said the sentence that broke the cycle forever. "I won't pay another dollar. Not one. Handle your own mess." She hung up. The phone kept ringing, again and again. But now it felt distant, unimportant, like rain tapping on a parked car. She placed the phone face down and walked to the kitchen. For the first time, the apartment seemed to breathe with her. In the days that followed, the calls lost strength. Her father sent stiff, cold messages. Her mother sent paragraphs mixing guilt and self-pity. Tyler disappeared entirely. Violet, for the first time in her life, felt peace. She made her morning coffee, took slow walks through the city, watched the lights of the buildings reflect against her window. She no longer felt like a machine, no longer felt like the family safety net, no longer felt responsible for fixing everything. And one evening, staring out her window, she realized she finally had her own life. And maybe she had never had one before. She learned that saying no isn't selfish. Setting boundaries isn't cruel. Walking away isn't abandonment. And love without respect becomes debt. If anyone listening has ever felt like the one holding the whole family together while quietly falling apart, Violet understands you, because she only discovered who she was when she stopped being what her family wanted.